dimming the lights.
Mood lighting.
We've got a sheriff here from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Tonight he's going to be talking briefly about the history of the Sheriff's Office. Going to be talking a little bit about the role of a sheriff. He's got some information on evictions. Looks like he's got the hat to boot. We're also going to be doing a little bit of Q&A. So my recommendation, as Mike is talking, if you have any questions, please write them down. We're going to have a very robust Q&A, so if you have any questions, please write them down. And I'm very pleased to introduce to you Mr. Mike Merrifield. Is this your deputy sheriff here? It's, yeah, Cupper. All right, welcome, Mike.
You guys don't have a clicker.
No, so we got a space bar.
Space bar.
Yeah, just,
Push lead.
right click.
Is that it? So, I'm Deputy Sheriff Mike Merrifield from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. If you guys didn't know, Hillsborough County is almost 900 square miles. We have Manchester, Nashua, and 29 other towns. We're the busiest sheriff's office in the state of New Hampshire. We are the busiest sheriff's office north of Boston. We have absolutely, positively nothing to do with the jail. I've never been past the lobby of the jail. I'm not a corrections officer. I'm a full-time certified law enforcement officer. In the state of New Hampshire, if you didn't know, sheriffs are basically the ultimate authority. We have statewide police authority. I only answer to the high sheriff, and he only answers to you, the voters. So we can go anywhere we need to enforce any law that we need to. I want to get into a bit of what we are, where we came from. So this is us in Manchester. That's way out in the little towns. We go all over every day. It doesn't matter where it is in our county. We even go outside our county if necessary for an emergency. Next slide. So what's a sheriff? So I gave this presentation to some high school kids. They had no idea who Clint Eastwood was. So I walked out. No. So what's a sheriff? So if you didn't know, we started under the King of England. Hillsborough County Sheriff is actually one of the first 100. I know. Well, let me get to it. We took care of that. So we started under the King of England way back when. So we actually have served British law and American law. So if you go to the next slide. So, have you ever heard of Mast Road in Goffstown, New Hampshire, or Mast Road in Manchester? Yeah. Well, Mast Road is named Mast Road because in the town of Ware, the ship masts used to come down and they go out to the Merrimack River to go down to the ocean to go over to England. The reason the town of Litchfield was formed, if you look at a map, is so that Londonderry didn't have water rights. I guess we didn't like Rockingham County. So, it's true. So, the sheriff was ordered by the governor back then to go to the town of Ware and say, I want my tax money. They're not paying. So they sent the high sheriff up there with a deputy, and they get there and the townspeople said, no, we're not paying these taxes anymore. And they revolted against the British in this county before the Boston Tea Party. They kidnapped the sheriff, they beat up the deputy, and they cut the ears off the sheriff's horse. Woo! Nobody cared about the deputy, but the horse. Yeah, okay. This is going to be real quick tonight. So who am I? So that's me. I've been here since 1992. I started here as a small child. No. I've been here since I was 19 years old. I love the sheriff's office. I love county law enforcement. We have progressed over the years. I started off with a revolver and 6 bullets in a speed loader. Now I've got a taser, which hurts like hell. I've got a gun with a light on it and stuff. Times have changed. Maybe not for the best, but I've seen a lot of changes in what we do also. So, family of law enforcement, why do you care? Well, because you're law enforcement officers, you don't know anymore. Because we've got cars, we started driving in those cars, started putting up those windows, and you stop talking to your police. Well, my current sheriff, Chris Conley, said enough of that. We're back doing foot patrols in downtown Manchester. We're dealing with the homeless one-on-one. We're not just driving by. So you'll see us with that big white hat, and the reason we have those hats is so we stand out now. And they're very uncomfortable. So my grandfather was a Boston police officer. My father and uncle were Hudson police officers. My mother was the first female sergeant at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and my nephew is a park ranger in Colorado. This is what we've done for years. My son wants to be an engineer. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I have a family. People don't humanize us, and we're trying to bring that back, trying to humanize it. This is my wife, some waitress jumped in the photo, and my son. My wife has tolerated 20 years of me waking up in the middle of the night and saying, there's a police shooting, I gotta go. There's an officer down up the road from our house, I have to go. Me calling saying, hey, I'm not coming home tonight. And at one point, not coming home for 3 days. And she's tolerated that, and I don't know why. When we were dating, she needed a car. I called her and said, I bought your car. She's like, what is it? I said, it's a Cadillac. She said, you bought me a Cadillac? She's a college kid. And I was like, yes. She said, what color? I said, well, they're black, red, or white. I said, it's black. And she says, oh my God, you shouldn't have done that, it's too much. I said, well, downside is a station wagon. And she's like, I don't care, you're too generous, blah, blah, and I sent her a picture. Well, it's a hearse. And she's like, that's a hearse. I said, that's a Cadillac station wagon. She's like, that's a hearse. And I actually bought her a convertible, but she still brings it up. She brought it up at her wedding. So before I get into what you guys came here for tonight, I want you to have an understanding of what we actually do. Half the deputies that we employ are actually undercover. You don't see them. They drive around in crappy cars. They drive around in dirty clothes. We don't tell them to wear dirty clothes. They just seem to do it. They enforce felony warrants. And we go all over the country. If somebody flees from New England, we've been to Guam, Hawaii, Alaska, but typically it's Buffalo, New York, believe it or not. I hate Buffalo. But we go all over the country to bring these people back. It's the duty of the sheriff, as the crier of the court under the state constitution, to enforce all felony warrants. So these guys go out and they chase some really bad guys, and my agency's actually caught an FBI 10 most wanted once, which is something, it's a lot of FBI agents can't even say they did. They work in conjunction with federal law enforcement. We've got one guy assigned to the DEA, which isn't like Miami Vice. He won't be back for 5 years. He's gone. He sees his family occasionally, but he's working in New York City or Detroit or wherever they need him. But that's what we're doing to stop the drug problem. And that's the other commitment my sheriff made. Next slide. This is us out doing felony warrants. Sadly, the kid behind me, his mother graduated high school with me. So I feel rather old. Next. Training. What we do, both criminal and on the civil side, is very dangerous. I teach ballistic shield training because all our cruisers have to have these, because it doesn't matter if I'm doing an eviction or a felony warrant. People sometimes don't like seeing us. Even sometimes Mrs. Merrifield doesn't like seeing me. But we do a very dangerous job. Next. The other thing the sheriff said is, I want to protect kids. So we got assigned to what's called ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children. Since COVID, child pornography has skyrocketed. The problem with child pornography is there's a double side to it. Where do they get these victims? Well, they do sex trafficking. So we also jumped on that task force. So the sheriff looked for the best guy for it, and he stole him from another agency. And next slide. So this is Deputy Matt Fleming, and this is Nico. Nico is the only electronic sniffing dog in New England. If you think you're gonna hide your porn or child pornography from us, no. Nico can smell a cell phone under 2 feet of water. He'll find it in the wall. And he's also an aggressive comfort dog. If you don't give him love, he will literally do somersaults on your feet. And he doesn't get fed unless he finds something. So he's fat. But Matt is assigned, he goes out to Portsmouth every day. And these guys raid houses all the time. Next slide. So these are the types of sex trafficking we deal with. And if anybody has any questions about that, I'll be happy to talk to you about that. This is us about to raid a house in some little town. We always take a picture beforehand because we're always afraid that one of us won't come home. Next photo. So the other thing we're dealing with in our county is drugs. Most likely opioids are what our deputies are dealing with every single day. I found a huge bag of fentanyl walking down the street about a month ago, and it bust open in my glove. I had to call somebody to come with a bag to take it away from me because I couldn't move because if it blew in my face, I'm going to overdose. So we're dealing with fake drugs and real drugs. That's the fake drug made off the same press as the real drug. But this fake drug might have a fatal combination because they don't care the mixture. Anybody here ever make a cake and you get to the bottom and there's still some mix in there? Well, that's what happens with this stuff. Well, that mix is the fatal stuff. And they don't care how they mix it. This is the real stuff's mixed to 1/1000th of a gram. This is made in the kitchen mixer. Next one. We're not dealing with heroin anymore. We're dealing with fentanyl. It's 50 times stronger than heroin. It will kill most of us. And I'm not going to go into this too much, but again, my agency is dealing with it head on. It's a terrible thing. It destroys lives, it destroys people, and it is so prevalent, and it's cheaper than beer on the streets of Manchester. Next slide. And it looks pretty damn enticing, doesn't it? We saw this a couple of years ago. They were making it color-coded, not to attract the kids, but to go up to young people and say, hey, it's not that scary. It's the same color as these terrible Hearts candy nobody wants at Valentine's Day. And that's their thing. Now this is already gone. Now there's a new purple version they want. Next slide. Carfentanil. We were seeing carfentanil for a while here, which is an elephant tranquilizer. There's only 238 elephants in America. Why do we need so much carfentanil? Now we're not seeing it because the drug dealers are business owners. It was killing their clients. Now this is coming back. But for a while there, we were seeing this stuff, and there's no bringing you back. Narcan won't reverse this. Won't come anywhere close. Now there's a new mixture just in between that's a horse tranquilizer. It's insane. Next one.
You have one job. One lousy job. What are you nervous about? She's wearing a cowboy hat and you just start pushing.
So, methamphetamine. We do see this. It's coming to New England. It's huge on the other side of the Mississippi, but it is coming here because you're getting the Elvis Presley cocktail. They take meth to get up in the morning. At night, they do the fentanyl to relax. And it's a vicious cycle. In fact, it catches up to them. The problem with meth is as property owners, if there's a meth lab in your property, it's on your deed for the rest of the property's life because it's a hazmat and it just plummets your property value. We have one deputy, he is fully trained to go and take these labs apart because they are literally the same type of labs used to make explosives. The difference between a meth lab and a bomb making lab are so similar, we can't tell them apart. We have to have a pro come in and do it. And I just came from bomb school today.
You got a 100.
Next up. So again, drug warrants and violent warrants are our top priority. We go after some very bad guys every day. We work daily with the DEA, which makes us shorthanded. And if you didn't know, law enforcement in New Hampshire is very shorthanded. We're down 60 state troopers. We're down 3 deputies, and there's only 20 of me in the entire county. Only 20 deputies. Nashua was down 20 officers. Manchester was down like 50 officers. And my office is actually in the Manchester Police Department now because we're working hand in hand. And any town that has a problem, because these little towns are really strapped, we'll go there and we'll help them. So this is why you guys came here today though, the uniform division. These are our guys that go out, these are the guys who do motor vehicle stops, these are the guys who do serve civil process, or we call them writs, they're actually called writs. These are the guys who enforce the evictions. Sadly, we do child custody transfers. It's one of the worst things we do, but sometimes it has to be done. We do writs of replevin, which is in the state of New Hampshire. If you didn't know, we have half the laws in the state of Massachusetts.
Don't buy property in Massachusetts.
We can physically go and take the money out of the bank. We can say, hey, you didn't pay this, you're cheating this person. I can go there with an order and take the money out of your bank. There are some legal steps afterwards to make sure the court wants to continue with that. We just don't do it free willy, but we have that option up here. We do executions. That's not killing people. That is, I can go and sell property. If you don't pay your condo fees and it gets to that point we will go, there's a step process that the bank can go through, where we will go and sell your property. It rarely gets to that point anymore in this economy. In 2007, we couldn't stop. We were working 12-hour days. We were never busier, and we were at full staff. The evictions were through the roof. The economy was in the tank, and we were doing these weekly. Now we do these far, far less. Because the economy's good, and I'm hoping it's gonna stay good, because New Hampshire's doing well. I got my own brother, he's moving back here from Colorado, because Colorado was terrible. It's totally changed. New Hampshire is a beautiful state, still a very safe state. Second safest state in America, behind Maine, and who lives in Maine? Seriously. You can't call about your neighbor because you can make your neighbor. We do IEA transports. The violent mental patients, there's no other way to move them, so we go and do it. It's an old thing that we do, but we do it very well, so we keep this responsibility instead of handing it off. And again, we assist any local town that needs us. So what's a writ? A writ's what you're looking for to start the eviction process and whatnot. I'm going to talk through this stuff fast. I'm not going to leave afterwards.